this lesson about Python Flask. In our last lesson, we speak about how to get one to-do item by ID from the to-do list using this endpoint and with the get method. In today's lesson, we will speak about how to update existing to-do item in the to-do list using the bot method. The endpoint will be backslash to do, and let's go ahead and start creating that endpoint. So as always, we will use the app.route decoration, and in it we will specify our endpoint, which is to do. The methods for this endpoint will be bot. Now we will create function for this endpoint. Define. The name of the function will be update existing to do item. Now, how we can update something in this list? So basically the idea very simple. We will receive the JSON, and from that JSON we will create object the similar way when we create a new to-do item and add it to the list. So actually this piece of code will work here in the same way. So we will send the request for the update that contain the ID, the title, and the description. The ID is supposed to be existing in the list. So if it's not exist, we will send 404 error. If it exists, then we will update it and we will send 201 error status code. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, we will need to define Boolean variable here to specify if we found that item or that item does not exist in the list. So I will name it like is exist, and I will initialize it for false, and then I will loop in the list. If I find any item in that list match the ID of the coming JSON, I will update it from this item. Otherwise I will continue search. If I didn't find anything, the is exist will remain false and we will send 404 error. So let's go ahead and do that. So for I in to do list, here we need to check for I. Remember we converted to JSON in the list, so I subscribe to ID equal item dot ID. Why we do that? This is still object, we don't convert it to JSON, so it's still Python object, so it's an instance of the item class, so we didn't convert it to JSON. So we have to do it in this way. It's item to dot ID, not item of ID of the item. So now if that's true, we need to set this item in the to-do list with the data of this coming item. So we say I of title equal item dot title, and I description of the item, we will set it to the item dot description, and we will flip this boolean to true So we say is exist equal true, and we need to break from this loop. That's it. We find our item, we update it, and we flip that boolean. So now we can check for that. If this condition is never met during the loop, so this is exist will remain false. So that's mean by the end of this for loop, if it's remain false, then we didn't find any item that match the ID of the coming JSON. Then we will need to throw error that is the item is not exist. So now we said if is exist, that means we found the item and we update it. We define response dot response equal JSONify message item updated successfully, and then we say response dot status underscore code equal 201, and then we can say return response. Now elsewise we will simply return 404. I will use the same method. I will keep using this method from now ahead. So this 404 message item not exist, and that's it for this method. So let's go ahead and test it using Postman again. We need to run our server first of all. So now it's running. The easiest way to get this is by we will update the item number 1, which is already exist. We add it, and as you see it here, it's in the list and the ID is 1. The title is Learn Flask. The description is Start Learning Flask. So we will make it like Learn Java, Start Learning Java, and check if that exists. So the easiest way to get your request for the bot request is just by using our last endpoint, which is get by ID. So I will try to get item number 1. Now we get this item. I will copy this and I will use it as the request for the bot endpoint, which is the to-do endpoint here via the bot method. So here the ID is 1. I'm sure that this is exist. Start, the description will be, we need to update it as Start Learning Java. The ID is 1. Title is Learn Flask. Instead of Learn Flask, we will say Learn Java, and let's send this request. And the message is item updated successfully. As you see here, the error code is 201 created, which is fine, good. So now let's update something which is not exist, like let's say ID 10. So as you see here also, message item not exist, and the error, the status is 404. So we handle both of the situation, the item exist and the item non-exist situation. So let's go ahead and make sure that item number 1 is updating to be Start Learning Java and Learn Java as title. We will use this request, the get request by the ID, and as you see here, ID number 1, ID one is start learning Java and the title is learn Java, which is match our update, our last update operation which we created here. So that's it for this lesson. I will see you in the next lesson, which we will speak about how to delete existing item in the list. Thank you and see you soon.